Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a truly fascinating philosophical framework. We're going on a wild ride that connects the absolute microscopic details of our daily routines straight to the grand, macro-level evolution of humanity itself. We're looking at source material that completely flips the script on how we view our bodies, our history, and honestly, the incredibly chaotic society we're all living in right now. We are going to start with an ancient secret hiding right there on top of your head, and by the end, we're going to arrive at the ultimate purpose of human evolution. It's a massive, thought-provoking journey, so let's jump right in.
To really grasp this philosophy, we have to start with something you probably just casually brushed or styled this morning: your hair. According to the historical sources we're unpacking today, our ancestors did not see hair as just some biological feature or a fun fashion statement. Not at all. They actually believed that hair is the ultimate cosmic antenna. The core idea here is that human beings are directly plugged into the vast, infinite energies of the universe. The source literally describes us as being connected by this cosmic bolt. And the primary receptor for picking up those tens of thousands of subtle natural energies, it's the hair and the pores of our skin. When it's kept pristine and totally unaltered, this organic antenna system supposedly lets a person read and absorb the energies of their environment with crystal clarity, feeding that directly into the mind and spirit. So back in the day, having a bad hair day literally meant you were having a bad universe day.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our ancestors protected this antenna fiercely. To them, damaging this sensory connection wasn't just a bad haircut, it was a severe punishment. If someone committed a crime, their neatly tied hair was untied and let down in total disgrace. If the crime was even worse, the hair was cut off entirely. And if someone was pushed to the absolute fringes of society, like facing execution or exile, their head was shaved completely bald. Shaving your head meant total withdrawal. You were retreating deep into the mountains, literally severing your energetic ties with everyday society. This is exactly why true leaders of the past viewed their morning grooming as a vital, absolutely crucial daily ritual. By carefully combing and arranging their hair and beard first thing in the morning, they weren't being vain. They were tuning their cosmic antenna so they could read the world's energy cleanly and lead their people effectively.
So what happened? Why did we lose this profound sensory connection to nature? Today, we don't think twice about chopping, dyeing, or totally frying our hair. Well, according to the text, it comes down to our modern priorities. As society evolved, our focus completely shifted outward. We became wildly obsessed with worldly success, climbing the social ladder, making money, gaining status. By constantly pointing all our mental energy toward these artificial material goals, our natural, subtle senses basically just dulled out. That innate ability to harmonize with the universe faded into the background because we were too busy prioritizing immediate, tangible gains. But here is the fascinating part. This loss of our natural antenna isn't just some tragic accident. It is actually a built-in phase of a much larger structural evolution of our entire species.
Moving into the grand shift, entering the humanity era.
The source lays out a highly specific, fascinating timeline for human evolution. Basically, for all of recorded history up until very recently, we were stuck in what it calls a basic growth phase, strictly governed by cosmic laws of evolution. But that phase was never meant to last forever. The framework points to the year 2012 as a massive, universal turning point. According to this, 2012 marked the definitive end of basic human evolution. The era where nature or the divine just blindly pushed us to grow, that's over. We have now crossed into the humanity era. This is an entirely unprecedented phase where the responsibility has completely shifted. In this post-2012 world, humans have gathered all the knowledge, all the tech, all the experience, and now we have to actively operate the world ourselves. It's no longer about just surviving. It's about fully evolved humans consciously creating a world of coexistence.
So, the crucial point is, if we are supposedly fully evolved in entering this incredible new era, why is the world currently such a chaotic mess? The source answers this by defining a concept called contradictions, or mosun in Korean. In this philosophy, the massive conflicts, the intense societal clashes, the crazy news cycle, none of that is a sign of failure. Actually, it's the exact opposite. These things are the absolute necessary final ingredients for true future progress. If these deep-seated contradictions aren't forced to the surface for all of us to witness and experience, we literally cannot formulate the correct solutions to unlock the future. The chaos is just a symptom of a society that has maxed out its old ways and is churning out the raw materials we need to build a brand new paradigm.
And this leads to a pretty challenging, highly objective perspective from the source. Because these contradictions are an absolute requirement for our evolutionary leap, the text argues that we shouldn't actually be blaming anyone for the state of the world today. I know, it sounds wild, But from corrupt politicians to corporate fraudsters, right down to street-level criminals, the philosophy neutrally suggests that everyone was simply playing their required part in a system that was always destined to push its flaws out into the open. A true progressive in this view isn't someone who just complains or points fingers at the other side. A true progressive looks at the world coldly, rationally, and objectively, realizing that the historical pileup of all these flaws was totally inevitable and necessary for us to finally learn how to fix them. Now, grasping that we are the ones tasked with fixing this requires understanding another huge transition.
Next up, the divine shift from God's protection to human management.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. Think of a parent and a child. When a kid is young and growing, the parent is super involved, right? They guide, protect, discipline, and totally control the child's path to make sure they survive. That was humanity's relationship with the divine during our evolutionary growth phase. But skip forward a bit. When that child becomes a fully capable adult, a good parent doesn't keep micromanaging them. They step back. They hand over the reins, staying in the background just for silent support. According to the source, the divine has done exactly this with us. God programmed our evolution, sure, but now that we've hit the humanity era, the divine forces have stepped back. The training wheels are off. It is now entirely up to us as fully evolved humans to take the wheel and manage this planet.
Which brings us to the modern reflection, plastic surgery and the price of popularity. To really ground this vast, universal philosophy, we just have to look at our everyday modern choices. Remember how our ancestors treated a single hair on their head as a sacred cosmic antenna? They were terrified of damaging it. Yet today, we willingly invite scalpels and needles to surgically alter our bodies. So, why the dramatic shift? The source is incredibly blunt about this. We alter our bodies today simply to draw people to us. We're in an era where humans have to operate the world together, meaning human connection is literally everything. We get a little work done on our nose or tweak our features because we have this deep, desperate desire to be liked, to be popular, and to attract a crowd. The divine isn't managing us anymore, so we are managing our own physical forms to build social capital.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the brutal reality of attracting that crowd today. It outlines what it calls the diamond law of modern popularity. Back in the day, if you had just one standout trait, like say you were an amazing singer, people would love you for decades, no matter what you looked like. But modern society, it is insanely strict and layered. To achieve true top-tier popularity today, exceptional physical appearance is basically just the baseline requirement. But that's not enough. You have to stack that with undeniable talent. And even that isn't always enough anymore. To reach the absolute pinnacle of lasting respect, society now demands high intelligence and prestige, like holding a degree from Oxford, which is the specific example the source uses. Getting hundreds of thousands of people to genuinely respect you takes way more than a catchy chorus today. It's a high-pressure, multi-dimensional requirement.
But wait, here is the absolute kicker, the harshest reality check of this entire philosophy. Let's say you check every single box. You enhance your looks to perfection, you have mind-blowing talent and top-tier intelligence. Your popularity still comes with a strict expiration date, and that number is 3. You have exactly 3 years. If after 3 years of holding the world's attention, you haven't continuously upgraded your inner substance, your message, and the actual value you provide, society will just grow tired of you. You'll be politely, or maybe not so politely, told to step aside. Superficial attraction might get you in the door, but it absolutely does not sustain you in the humanity era.
Which brings us to the ultimate question posed by this material, a question that ties our ancient cosmic roots directly to our modern obsession with attention. If people gather because they like your appearance, what will you do for them? It is simply not enough to just draw a crowd. The universe evolved us, handed us the keys to this era, and gave us the tools to attract one another. But once you finally have their attention, once the whole world is looking at you, what true inner value, what wisdom are you actually equipped to offer them? Think about that for a while. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep growing, and I'll catch you next time.